Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Oh Heck Nah, a Naked and Afraid podcast. And if you don't know about the show, we basically go over Last One Standing. And this has been a great season. I'm one of your co-hosts, Malu Beyonce.
And Gabe.
Yes, my other beautiful co-host. And we're just happy to have you join us because this episode was bananas. I was telling Gabe, I don't even know how to start this episode because it's so crazy.
Exactly. I mean, it takes place over 3 episodes, but the majority of it is like one day, and that's like a producer's dream. You get so much stuff that an entire episode can take over, or it could be over like one day, and they probably love that. It was chaos.
I loved it. It was chaos, and the name of the episode was All Shelter Breaks Loose. And basically, we just do a recap of the show, and if you haven't seen this episode, definitely go back and watch it because we're about to deep dive it. There's going to be so many spoilers and so much. And the show opens up with the hog, Gwen Patrick. And I found this interesting. It's not the most juicy part, but it's interesting because according to Patrick, he misses it by 3 inches. It was amazing how that hog just happened to go right in front of him. It was so close, right?
And then is running, and then you have this Patrick running after you and probably just going, okay, this is fine, I'm getting away from here as fast as I can. But yeah, that was amazing that Patrick was able to get that close to it.
So close, and he was so close, and he missed the shot. I'm so mad at Patrick. I mean, listen, I'm not mad at you because you missed the hog. We're going to get into that because you messed up big time. I was disappointed he missed it. But kind of serves him right. I don't know. We'll talk about that later. But then he says that thing about I can outrun a hog any day. Can you? Do you think you could outrun a hog, Gabe?
I definitely cannot outrun a hog, and I don't think he can either, unfortunately. Unless maybe it was running on its hind legs and it had eaten a big meal. Then maybe.
I 100% Googled it, and it said that feral hogs in Australia can run about 30 to 31, and humans average 14 and 19. So I don't think you can outrun a hog. And then he comes back and this is foreshadowing how dumb Patrick is later. He comes back and he tells Jermaine about missing the hog and Chini, and he gets frustrated with them. I don't understand why he is so mad at Jermaine because they're not showing it. And they try to show that was the dumbest shot ever. And then, Chini saying something, and Patrick overhearing it. That was edit magic, was it not?
I think it was edit magic because I think if Patrick had heard that, he would have said something. Patrick is not afraid of confrontation. He's been saying, I'm going to steal your stuff. He was like in everybody's face with the stolen line. If he heard that, he would have said, what are you saying, Jermaine? Maybe he heard kind of what Chini was saying because when we see a shot of his face, we can kind of hear her talking. But I don't think he was able to...
But you can't see her. You can't see her saying that. She could have said that a long time ago when they said, yeah, you're right.
I was just going to say, there is a moment later, it's not really a spoiler, but there's a moment where she has something in her mouth and you can hear her talking, but then she moves her arm and you're like, but she has something in her mouth. She didn't say it when that was said kind of thing. So this little editing manipulation that's going on, it's like, we see you editing. We're not going to be fooled.
Yes, we see you. Tricky, tricky, tricky. Now let's get on to Patrick's dumb move. I'm sorry, Patrick. I have been defending you. I have loved the way that you have played the game, but you messed up big time. Why in the world, Gabe, does Patrick have the need to just walk over to Matt's camp and Laura and vent? They don't even like you. They don't even like you. They have told you they're against you. And you just go over there and say, can I pop a squat?
Yeah, I was really confused about that too. It's just like the guy who calls you a weasel, the other guy who doesn't like the fact that you stole, and Laura, I don't know how vocal she has been to him about the whole stealing thing, but you know that Matt is very not with you, and to just be like, oh, I need to vent about Jermaine. He's so against me, and I just don't like it. And my first thought was, is this like Patrick's like, oh, if they decide to use this information against me, then they're no better than me? That's kind of my first thought, is Patrick would pull that kind of scenario, and he hasn't said anything about it. So I just think he was just like, oh, I need someone to vent to. I'm just going to vent to Matt, Max, and Laura. It won't bite me in the end. And it did.
And I think the number one rule, whether you're doing Naked and Afraid or whether you're doing Last One Standing, your team is your lifeblood. Whether you're getting along with them, whether you're not, whether they get on your last god darn nerve, you still depend on your team. You don't go outside and, you cannot let your frustrations get to you because it will ruin you, correct?
I agree. Things said in anger, you will regret it later on, even though in the moment you're like, oh, I'd feel so good to get this off my chest. Why is everyone crying and leering at me?
Patrick, that was a big mistake. I mean, huge, big. So we have so much juicy things coming up. I kind of want to switch over everything and let's get to Jamie, okay? Because I think it's the most important, juiciest part. Jamie, I am so upset and sad that you got sick and had to leave. I'm devastated. It was a hard moment, and he was really jacked up.
Yeah, they were talking about how they had to put him in the creek to cool him down, and it took them a while to stabilize him, and they were pouring cold water over him. They were giving him water in little sips because when you have heat stroke, if you take too much water at once, your body could be like, no, we don't need this right now. So they're pouring water on him, trying to get his core temperature down. But after working so long in the heat, unfortunately, it just really caught up with him really fast. And I was a little upset with him throughout the challenge because the whole Vine situation, and then when he saw that Trish
Gabe, preach.
I'm sorry, Jamie. If you want to make a post about this later, that's fine. But why, after he saw that Trish after what happened to Trish happened, don't want to go too far ahead too fast, but why didn't he just stop?
That is my thing, 100%. I am so glad you said it. Strategy-wise, y'all's strategy is all over the place. As soon as you knew you were out and your partner's hurt, you're not going to win. Stop. Go get in the water. I'm so glad we think alike.
But then he's still going, and then he had messed up the strategy the first time, so he had to redo everything, and at that point you're just like, I got to camp out, I can't really move, I'm just going to sit here and cool down and just face elimination or whatever. But I don't understand why he kept going. I mean, it's very...
I don't understand either, Gabe. Let's talk about all the mistakes he made. Number one, why do they choose to build their structure away from everybody else? If you don't know how to do it, he said he's never done it, go get closer to the people who know how to do it. Didn't it seem like they were all the way on the end? Do you think they make them sit there? I don't think so.
The way they framed it was weird because when you see the two by themselves with their shelter, it looks like there's no one around them, but then they kind of shoot long way down. It almost looks like just the perspective, you can't tell how close they are to each other. I guess, I don't know if they were on the end or what, but if you are anywhere near Matt Wright, or if you're anywhere near Max or Kayla or Darren, like it's okay to look over and be like, okay, so what are they doing? I may not get first or second, but third is up for grabs, kind of thing.
It's not okay, Gabe. It's not okay to do that. It's the smart thing to do. It's what you should do. It's the smart thing to do, and they did not do it. So that's mistake number one. And then mistake number two is where they started building everything. I don't know, 10 feet over, there was more shade cover. So while you're building it where there's sun, instead of getting in the shade, makes no sense to me. So that's mistake number two. And then, of course, mistake number three were the poles he chose. They were horrible.
Well, he didn't choose poles at first. He chose vines because he thinks that they will structurally hold everything up when they add extra saplings and stuff. And Trish was just standing there going, okay, I like this idea. My shady thought, this may not be exactly what she was thinking. My first thought was, I beat Jamie by a good amount in the elimination challenge we just did. If we're in the bottom, I think I'm going to be safe. That was my first thought, but I think in her mind, she was thinking, oh, he seems very confident in this. Let's go with this. But then is like, it is flat, Jamie. We need to get a dome structure here. And the vines were...
Yeah, it was just a mess. I will point out that when they first start off, Jamie tells Trish to get the paper bark and that he's going to go get the vines. So he made the decision to do that. So that's on Jamie, not on Trish. And it's funny that you have that negative, bad thought about Trish, Gabe, because somebody made a Facebook post, and I'm going to try not to butcher her name. So this post is from Gina Chickadee, and girl, I hope I'm saying your name right. But she made a post about, let's see how Trish is going to cheat this week. I had to message Gina, and I was like, Gina, I cannot tell if you like Trish or if you don't like Trish. And this is what she said. She said, I don't love her, but I don't hate her. I was making fun because the whole week following the first episode, all you saw were posts on how she cheated. Ha, 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 ha. And so you're talking about Trish and her evil thoughts. I don't think she thought that. I think she was just like, I don't know what I'm doing. Jamie acts like he knows everything in the world, and I'm going to follow Jamie. That's what I thought.
Yeah, and you're more right than I am. I just try to think of the shadiest things in the moment and then say it out loud. And I don't think Trish had any ill intent towards Jamie. I think she saw his confidence, it was going for it, and I think when Jamie realized that his vine idea wasn't working, she's like, okay, let me go get some more vines. This is fine. So
I guess we need to get into the other competitors at this point. But basically what happens is Jamie overworks himself. Trish sits her butt down after she injures her eye. Now, was she being careless? Did she not know about the sap? What do you think?
I think in the moment since she had gathered some vines before, I thought she would be okay, but maybe this vine was higher above her than she thought, and I guess the way that she hit it, she thought it would be maybe a cleaner cut, but it wasn't, and the sap ended up spraying on her. But I think in the heat of the moment, no pun intended, she just kind of hit it, and then unfortunately got it on her, and then some of it ended up in her eye. The rubber tree.
I understand that Jamie, obviously, I think he did show concern about his partner, but he was also concerned about moving forward in the challenge. And the time editing and the editing magic is really hard to tell exactly what's going on. But truth be told, they were so far behind. They had no chance of making it. Zero chance. And he probably, like you said, should have taken care of her or gone and laid in the river because he knew he was sick.
I agree. After a while, it's hot out in Australia. I think he knows that it's over 100 degrees. There's a point where you look over and he could have gone and looked over and saw, okay, my pile of vines versus everyone's structures that are forming. I think it's time to call it. Unless production was like, hey, we want you to at least work on it until the end, and maybe, or I don't know if production said, hey, maybe work on it, or suggested just keep working on it and it'll be fine. I don't know. Maybe Jamie wanted to be very chivalrous and be like, I can do this on my own. I got this. I'm going to work really hard on this and prove that I'm a hard worker.
I'm going to do this by myself. I didn't need her in the first place kind of ego, maybe.
I think he had the mindset of, I can do this on my own. I'm very tough. Unfortunately, the heat was like, you thought.
He was wrong. He was not tough enough for that Australian heat. Which also brings me up to something else. You talked about production. Did you notice in his diary cam, he's standing up and he's talking about what happened with Trish. Okay? He has dirt right here. He's standing up. It's 100% full sun. And when I watched it the first time, I said, why is he pausing in the middle of this and standing in the sun? I will tell you this. I don't think production thinks about, hey, I'm standing you up in the sun. You're burning up. It's hot. It's beaming down on you. Because even in my challenge, they would always apologize and say, you're probably going to end up hating us because we have to do this. And sometimes they would stand me up and where there'd be bugs biting my feet as I'm trying to give my stand up. And it's horrible. So did you notice that there was no coverage of the sun whatsoever when he was doing that stand-up? Before he got real sick?
I didn't really notice him standing up. I noticed the times where he was sitting down and there was kind of a hill behind him. And I unfortunately did not see that. Okay,
this is where it gets tricky. Conspiracy theory time, people. It's conspiracy theory time. Why is it that I never saw those same dirt markings on him during the whole competition part of the challenge. However, when he's in the truck leaving, he has the same dirt marks. So are you trying to tell me that y'all pulled over after you had already made him a little bit well and said, hey, we need you to do this stand up? Do you think that's possible? Everybody, I'm going to try my best to put the timestamps in here and maybe do some screenshots because I really want this conspiracy to stick.
I mean, since they said they stabilized him before taking to the hospital, maybe they pulled over and were like, hey, we need you to give us a good 10 minutes of kind of your final interview stuff, since he was stabilized and probably feeling a little bit better and had some water in him. So I wouldn't put it, I'm not saying denied, but I'm kind of like, yeah, that sounds kind of legit based off of, the dirt markings and the time markers and him talking about the situation that happened. So I'm just like, I think it might be right.
Well, the reason why I bring it up was because a long time ago in Tara's very first episode, remember her partner, was his name Sean? Remember
yes.
He hit the rock and failed? Me and her had a little go around about whether or not he did a stand up after the hospital. She said he did it. And based on the blood and the marks, I think he did. But this is just editing magic. I just want to point it out to y'all because everyone gives people such a hard time. And you have to realize that this is editing magic. And that is why I'm bringing it up. So this brings me to another controversial thing. Laura and her head getting smacked. Ooh. It never occurred to me that people were going to blame Jermaine. And I saw a post of somebody blaming Jermaine. And I said, oh my God, am I blind to it? It did not seem like Jermaine had anything to do with it, but I'm going to give it over to you, Gabe. What happened with Laura and the vine hitting her in the forehead, which there was blood drawn?
Okay. But, gosh, I just talking about people. People do not like Jermaine right now, and I think that's very unfair. But I'm trying to remember everything that happened correctly, but I remember he had a bundle of sticks in his hand, and Laura said, he said, I'm not letting go until, you tie it off or something, and Laura's like, don't let go. And there was, a shift that happened with the structure, and I think maybe a random sapling. I don't think it was from one of the ones Jermaine was holding, but there was tension that was released, and unfortunately it smacked Laura in the head, and luckily she didn't get a concussion, but I think it was just an accidental shift that caused the sapling to hit her. But I think maybe
100% it was an accident.
Yeah.
100%. And hello, but I don't know if any of Jermaine's actions caused it because they don't have him in the frame when she gets smacked. It happens so fast. I didn't know people were hating on Jermaine. I don't see any reason to hate on Jermaine. I had no clue this was going on, Gabe. You're breaking my heart here. People are going after Jermaine. I'm sorry.
Unfortunately, people have been criticizing him and saying that I'm trying to remember exactly what they said because I don't want to mix it up with what they're saying about Matt, but people are saying, or they're saying it's Jermaine's fault and that he's not apologizing to Laura in the moment, and so they're criticizing him, and I think they're calling him a know-it-all. I think someone said he's all had and knows something else, basically saying he's all talk and no action or something like that, and basically I guess they're trying to say he's overrated. I don't know, but I think Jermaine is very knowledgeable.
No, hang on. Heck nah, you did not say that My Black Cowboy is overrated. I cannot believe...
I didn't say that. I didn't say that. I'm just trying to remember
I know
what
other people are.
Well, I know people are just really mad at him right now. Ooh, I'm sorry. I don't know if exactly that was being said. I don't know if they said he was overrated, but people are very mad at him right now. I think because they blame him for what happened to Laura, and they're like, no, not Laura the Queen. And then with the editing, I think they're trying to make the audience turn on Jermaine, even though with the Patrick versus Jermaine and the boar hunting and stuff, even though Jermaine does have more experience, and I am kind of more on Jermaine's side, let's listen to the one who is an expert in hunting hogs. But I think with the way it was edited, Patrick speaking ill of Jermaine, saying he was annoying, and he's like, oh, he's talking so much, and we're butting heads so much. They're trying to turn audience perspective, and then with the
I wonder how mad.
Laura, yeah.
Jermaine is about this edit that he's getting. Like, I wonder if he's mad about it or if he doesn't care. I don't know. But I did notice the tension between Jermaine and Laura, the way they were building it. Obviously, she didn't agree with it. And there was a lot of things that bothered me about that as well. Number one, their shelter looked janky. And I was like, oh my God, it does look janky. Lord help. But then I looked over at someone else's and it looked the same structure-wise. If you really look, it looks the same. So the question is, and I have seen Jermaine build shelters in person with my own eyes, and he is very good.
Yeah, and the way that it was edited, Laura had experience with it and was talking about the saplings and was saying, oh, I don't really like the size of those saplings. And Jermaine saying, no, it's okay. It's fine that they're smaller, but Laura's a bit iffy, but still kind of goes with it. So maybe that's kind of editing, trying to point the finger at Jermaine for why Laura got hit. But, watching it and kind of, being not remembering like, oh, production can change things around. I'm just like, well, why doesn't he listen to Laura? If I had Laura as a partner, I would do everything she says. She could say, jump off that bridge. And I'm like, okay, Laura. And it probably wouldn't end well, but I don't know. That's just the way I assume based off the editing.
I couldn't tell one way or the other. And I also thought it might be a smart strategy not to build the best shelter in the world. Throw that thing together, get it done, make it as small as possible. Remember the bed in Last One Standing, one where they were all like trying not to lay on the bed?
Yeah, that was supposed to be 2 feet off the ground and it was like this tall. Speaking of moments about, trying to do it as best you can, there was a moment where someone's placement may have been cost by a little bit of an adaptability moment, but this is shifting to like another team, and I didn't know whether we wanted to shift and talk about that or stay on Jermaine and Laura for a little bit longer.
Shift, baby, shift. What are you talking about? I want to know.
Or I noticed Darren and Matt were pretty much in first place from phase 1 to phase 2, but there was a moment where Matt's like, oh, if we add this belt in here, then it'll help the paper bark shingle stay on better. And then at that point, I saw Max and Kayla H have completed phase 3, so they're able to deconstruct. And I'm thinking, what if Matt trying to add the extra little belt to make the shelter a little bit better, what if that cost him and Darren first place by him doing that?
I think it did.
Yeah, those precious few seconds, because, Matt's very adaptable, but it's like, no, you're neck and neck. You need to do this as fast as you can. It may not be perfect, but you could focus on making it better once you're done with the challenge.
Exactly. So Matt being a perfectionist has caused him not to succeed, because I think you really have to think about strategy. And I think that's what everybody did not do from the very beginning. You only needed to build it just enough for you, both of you, to fit in it. It didn't have to be perfect. And so I think a lot of people overdid it.
Yeah, but I was still another thing they had to build that I was so confused by, the 3-stick spring snare trap. I'm just looking at it, I'm like, how is this supposed to be built? And then looking at the dome shelter, I'm looking at the picture that they show, and then what everyone's building, and I'm going, I am so confused right now. But I guess production's just like, well, it's a shelter. They fit inside. Let's just let them go, kind of thing. I don't know.
You bring up a really good point, because it was close. It appeared to be very close. But then Max and Kayla take off, and I'm thinking, I don't see Darren or Matt anywhere behind them. They're not behind him. So they had a really good, strong lead. Max, you are not getting a lot of airtime, I don't think. And I think that's a smart strategy right now. You're not causing any waves, but you're staying at the top. But I really loved the way that you encouraged your partner when y'all were going across the finish line. You're like, see that line? You got it. Just go toward that line. And it was so encouraging. I think you need recognition for that. However, you know me, I also think that Max should have been in the front, because his pace and his stride is bigger, and she could kind of maybe lean. Like, I'm sure when you're pushing, when you're in the back, you're pushing and you're adding more weight to that person who's carrying in the front. So if you're in the back, you can put a little bit of that weight on them. That's just my opinion. Y'all are bad A's. There is no way I could have done any of this. So, but I just want to give that little shout out. Great job, Max and Kayla. Great job, Darren and Matt. But womp womp, Trish and Jamie, and womp womp, Black Cowboy and Laura. I'm sorry. It was
the chaos, the medics everywhere production. The ones who finished are just like, what's going on over there? What's happening?
Yeah, and they had to sit down in the. Oh, let's talk about Patrick and Chini. Hang on. So Patrick and Chini are building their shelter. She's like, he's the Energizer Bunny. She seems to be happy with him. And I think the edit is almost making it seem like Chini's more on Patrick's side than the Black Cowboy side. And I don't know if that's true or not. I don't know, but that's the way that the edit is doing. What do you think?
I think you're absolutely right. That's what I was thinking. I think they want the audience to kind of turn on Jermaine or think of Jermaine as an antagonist. So maybe they're trying to build up Patrick a little bit more. He was totally right in this argument. He was so upset. And Chini's talking about Patrick in a positive light. So everyone is thinking, oh, Patrick's more right in this situation. And Laura accidentally gets hit in the head with the sapling. And, oh, Jermaine's her partner. Oh, my gosh, Jermaine. Oh, he's dropping the ball. And so I think that was part of the editing strategy to hear a lot of confessionals about Chini, even though I still remember how Chini was hugging on Jermaine when they won the rabbit in the last episode. Chini's just like, I'm trying to keep the peace. So I think that it's more of the editing for her to be in favor of Patrick.
I think it's the editing as well, but we have to remember, y'all, number one, this is a TV show. Number two, this is Naked and Afraid. And number three, this is competition. So Jamie's out. We need another competitor against Patrick. So the Black Cowboy, I guess, is who it's laying on, which I think is TV magic, but poor Black Cowboy. But I think they were kind of smart. The Black Cowboy was like, okay, I'm calling it. Medics are with Trish, medics are with Laura, and the medics are with Jamie. And I just think it's a really big mess. I do want to point out that this is real. This is serious, because even David Story was right there. And if you don't know who David Story is, you're not a real super fan. David Story is the father of Naked and Afraid. I don't care what anybody wants to call EJ. No, it's 100% David Story. And David, I need you to come on the podcast with me and Gabe. He was right there worried about it. There were other producers. My producer from my episode was out there with Jamie. This is a real deal.
Yeah, these injuries that these individuals are receiving is real. The weight loss is real. The heat stroke is real. People are saying it's fake. It's all real. All the suffering, it's all real.
What's up with the white bandage on his arm? They never explained it. It irritated the mess out of me. What was that?
I think that may have been where they put an IV in his arm to try and get some fluids in him to try to rehydrate him, because they probably couldn't give him a lot of water in that time, and they just wanted to give him some extra fluids and maybe some extra electrolytes to help stabilize him. So maybe they didn't because
it was whole big.
Well, when I give plasma, they usually wrap it, and it's about like this much on my arm. But maybe since with the environment they're in, they don't really have a smaller gauze or a smaller wrap that they could use. So my assumption is giving him fluid, since it was like on the elbow, and usually that's where they get a vein for that.
Well, because they do that all the time. They leave important stuff out. Get it together, people. But so long, Jamie. We will miss you. As I told you last week, I really wish that you would have gotten beaten out the competition and not sent home on a medical tap. So I hope this doesn't affect your ego. You are wonderful. You know you're going to be back, and I'm so proud of you. You really made these first 4 episodes just amazing. Thank you.
Yeah, and he's getting people talking about him, so hopefully he can... I want to see him on maybe an XL or another 21 and then come back to LOS just so he could get more days, just so that can help step up his PSR and all that good stuff. So I hope he can come back as soon as possible. And then maybe have Suzanne come up behind him and be like, hello, Jamie. Since we're not going to
Oh my gosh, one can only hope. So now it's moving on. We had this big adrenaline rush from all this happening, and we have the winners go to their camps, and we have the 3 losers stay at theirs. The medic comes up, and this is something else that was weird. The medic comes up at night and says, I think you should go to the hospital, Trish. Why? I don't understand that. I don't know if he was the main medic. I don't get it at all. Why did he do that, Gabe? For ratings?
I think that I'm sure medics try to be as neutral as possible when it comes to competition. Like, oh, it'd be so dramatic to have her come out. Maybe, I don't know, a producer said to the medic, like, hey, but I'm sure Janice maybe could throw her 2 cents in since she is a medic, or Victor, Handsome Santa. And I'm sure from a medic's point of view, if she's still in pain and her vision is blurry, then I'm sure they're like, hey, we can flush it out a little bit, but just to make sure, you know, this could cause further harm to your eye, just to make sure, we recommend you go to a hospital. And I know in the past, if people are injured, medics haven't really come up and been like, we would recommend you do this, or maybe they have and we haven't seen it. But I think that was just a moment for drama and Trish trying to say, hey, no, I'm here, and you're not getting rid of me that easily.
So let's go back to the super fan, Gina. She was talking about how everybody just disliked Trish. How has this affected Trish? With the eye, are they blaming her for Jamie going home, or are they wish that she would have gone home? Where does she stand?
I'm happy you brought this up because I was going to mention how someone wanted to post a post. I believe the individual was legally blind, and they were saying, oh, you know, Trish with her great vision, how could she potentially lose more vision in her eye just for the sake of a competition? That's very selfish. How could she do something like that? And people are kind of getting upset with her for not taking care of her eye more, it seems.
For losing, Trish. I'm sorry. You can't win for losing. They're on you about cheating. They're on about you for not leaving. I don't understand. She needs to come out of this more on top. I thought she was moving up there now that with Suzanne gone, but I mean, that's crazy, right?
Yeah, pretty much her storyline for the episode was, I got toxic sap in my eye, but I'm not done yet. And a lot of individuals are upset at her for not leaving, but that may be a bias against her. And she didn't choose this chance to leave gracefully. Why didn't she do that? But if she left, they would have been like, oh, medics cleared you. You're a baby.
You took the easy way out. That's what they would say.
Exactly.
You took the easy way out.
Yeah, so darned if you do, darned if you don't. I think as long as, if the medic clears her and she's okay and, you know, the pain is lessening and she's able to see a little bit better, then go for it.
Now we're kind of winding down. It's the next day. We have the 3 winners at their camps. What did you think about that? A little bit boring. They had the little fishing thing, which I thought was interesting because Matt says, nobody's going to take your fish. I don't steal or cheat. And then he goes into his rant again about a real survivalist does not cheat or steal. I agree with Matt in a sense, but you're not a survivalist out there. You're a competitor out there. I like the fact that he's Boy Scout, but I also like the fact that we have Patrick who says, I am going to be opportunistic. He says it. So I like that he says that. We need the Boy Scout and we need the Last of Us, virus killers, raiders. We need that aspect too, correct?
I think so. It's nice to have a lot of different personalities so you can get a lot of different dynamics. I think in season 1 it was 11 people thinking one way and one person thinking another, and it was just a big clash and it was chaos. But now you have, you know, people who are stealing things and then their partners have to be like, well, there's nothing I could do, and then other people who are like, I don't like that. And so it's interesting to see the dynamics, and they have been sort of pitting the Legend Slayers versus the A-Team, and it seems to be maybe Matt versus Patrick kind of thing. And so it's very interesting to watch. And I think good on Matt for not taking Max's fish. I think in Matt's mind, he's like, I don't need to try to step on someone to get ahead, at least by taking food out of their mouth. Maybe play some mind games, but not actually like, oh, this is mine now, because we see Darren and Matt walking away with their own fish, so Matt's confident in his abilities, and he's like, I don't need to steal from others to win. And
he doesn't. He doesn't need to steal from others. So we have Max and Kayla, they catch fish. Matt's getting fish, of course, with Darren. And then we have Porcini and Patrick, who just have to listen to everybody getting fish. And the next part of the juicy thing is, it's time for the merge. We got 3 groups. of winners and 3 losers. And this was, I did not see this coming, Gabe. I did not see it coming. But you did call it. I want to point out, hats off to you, because you called it last time. You said, is it going to be like a Fernando thing or a Boulan thing where somebody goes home and therefore they have no elimination? Remember you said that?
Yeah. And I'm really surprised, because when that happened, people were saying, oh, Danny didn't finish the challenge. She should have finished the challenge, da-da-da-da-da. But, no one's saying anything about Jermaine, Laura, and Trish not really finishing the challenge. So I'm thinking that's kind of a bias towards Danny because she was very shady. But I was very happy that I called that. And near the end of the episode, I was texting one of my friends, and I'm like, I think this is the way the groups are going to come out because this, that, and the other, and I ended up being right. So I was very happy, and it was for a shady reason this time, so I was right about that.
Yes, and so let's talk about this shadiness. It was a blow, I'm sure, to Jermaine, the Black Cowboy's ego, because everybody was like, oh, they'll choose him first because he sees himself as an asset. I see you as an asset. However, people are playing the game. They're having strategy. So what do you think about the first choice, Max and Kayla's choice to choose Laura? What do you think about that?
I think that was probably the smartest decision on their part, just because Laura has a lot of experience, and having her on your team would be great when trying to complete these challenges, and they're probably going to listen to her ideas, and she's a fast worker. So in terms of a team challenge, it would be really great. To be kind of shady would be maybe picking one of the weaker individuals, and so if you have to go up for elimination, you're like, oh, I can definitely beat this person, it's fine. But Max even said himself, even you with a hurt neck is better than everyone else at their best. So I think Max has more of an insight into working with Laura, and he's like, you know what, she may have a hurt neck, but she knows what she's doing, so I trust in her knowledge.
You bring up a very good point that I wanted to talk about. There are no known alliances. There's no one helping anybody. We have not discussed that as of yet. So you're in a group of 3, Jamie, Suzanne, and Trish. They could have helped each other. Jamie and Suzanne could have said, hey, we're going to make this swinging arm. I'm going to help you. You're going to help me. Are they restricting that? We don't know. But there could have been some alliances. After you finish a challenge, why can't you go back and help somebody else if you wanted to? Help the weaker people. What you just said was the greatest strategy. Choose a weaker person in your group because you know that's the person you're going to be going up against. So you want a weaker person in your group. You want to be stronger than somebody.
Exactly. But I think that Max, we see a lot of Max kind of coming up with the reasoning for it. We don't see exactly what Kayla says, but I think we don't see her being against the decision. So I think she did say, like, yes, this is a good idea. But we hear Max talking about how,
I disagree. I'm sorry. I disagree with you, Gabe. I think that was Max taking the lead because I remember Kayla said something to the matter of fact, like, that's taking a risk and we're competing for money. And she said the word like money. And I'm like, she's thinking, but she was also thinking about maybe having the strongest team. And she wasn't thinking about having someone weaker that she can beat, but she was thinking about money. And if you wanted to think about money, I think you do want the strongest team possible. And I think Jermaine would have been the choice. So I don't think Kayla was 100% on board. I think she just kind of laid down to Max.
Or was she also thinking, hey, Laura has whiplash and her neck is all messed up. What if that affects her in later challenges? So if I do have to go up against her individually, I can breeze by her because Kayla is very athletic. So she's like, oh, my competitor has a potential handicap going on. So let's kind of, maybe that could have been her thought process. But yeah, I think I don't
think she was thinking like that. And no offense to you, Kayla. No offense to you. I just don't think you have that kind of mindset. That's something that me or Gabe might think about. And like I said, and you made her such a good point. In Last One Standing, there was one person who was thinking about it as a competition and everybody else was still thinking about Naked and Afraid Survivalist Family Boma thing. This is a competition. And let me tell you, I always thought maybe I could do Last One Standing. No, I can't do Last One Standing anymore because it's becoming closer and closer to a competition now. Last One Standing 1, I could have hung in there for a little bit. Which brings us to our next choice. And this is competition strategy all the way. Matt and Darren, talk about their decision.
Well, I thought I saw this coming because I'm like, they showed that conversation earlier with Patrick and the A-team and all that. And so I'm just thinking, Matt's definitely going to be choosing the person to make Patrick's life a lot harder. So he's thinking, okay, well, Trish had the sap in our eye, but we think we can work well together with her. We know for a fact that Jermaine will drive Patrick crazy. And Patrick, has been talking a big game. He's stealing things. He'll say, I'll steal from you. He's saying that he's the Legend Slayer. And so why not try to wear him down mentally and play some mind games with him? It's like, oh, but Jermaine's a strong competitor. Why wouldn't you want him on his team? Do you not like him? Tell us more, Patrick. But Matt and Darren ended up choosing Trish for their team. So Patrick gets the joy of seeing Jermaine enter his camp, and we see the trio back together again, even though there was supposed to be a shuffle.
And let me tell you, I am sure I have seen so much Matt hate. I haven't been paying attention, but there's been a lot of Matt hate out there, and he's playing a game. I don't knock him for this strategy whatsoever. I thought it was very smart, and I thought it was smart because this is what you get, Patrick, for going and venting to your enemy. I don't know what you were thinking. We opened the show with how dumb this was, and it's coming to bite you in the butt. But let me read Patrick's post. Have you read his post?
I've seen a lot of his posts, so I'm wondering which one.
Okay, so Patrick's post says, I have to say the highlight of episode 4 for me was seeing Matt Wright and Darren Ray making chess moves in Last One Standing 3. I felt that Last One Standing 1, everyone was just playing checkers in a two-dimensional way. With Last One Standing could be so much more. What I love seeing in Last One Standing 3 is that I'm not the only person using strategies and mind games to affect our competitors in an effort to become the last one standing. And I am so here for it. That was an amazing play, guys, and I look forward to watching our battle of wits and strategies play out this season. So that's what Patrick says. He's like, bravo for doing some strategy, which is great. However, we also know that Patrick knows how all this ends. He tagged Matt, he tagged Darren. I saw a lot of people saying that a lot of people are acting in this season. Did you see that post? Somebody said there's a lot of acting going on. And I'm like, what? Acting? I don't think so. But then I started thinking about Jeff. Remember Jeff and Steven kind of got into it somewhere for a little while, and I thought all that was fake. I don't know what's really going on, and I don't really care. What do you think? Do you think this is real, or do you think it's fake?
I think a lot of the social media drama, and for those audio-only listeners, I am putting major air quotes around online drama, is kind of for the fans just to cause controversy and go back and forth. I'm sure that because Laura even put out a statement like, even with Patrick's tactics, I still trust him. And so I think that a lot of them are more friends since, they've had about a year since the season ended to kind of interact. And I think that some of this drama is for the sake of drama and to get people talking, but I think in actuality, they're not as on bad terms as we think they are. I don't think that Matt and Patrick are feuding in their DMs. I think maybe they might throw a shitty comment here or there just for funsies, but yeah, I think that, it's all for fun. And I remember in season 1, it was kind of obvious that some of the survivalists were kind of having fun drama, they were still following each other, they were still liking each other's posts and stuff like that. It was only when Steven was getting some mean messages where it was like, okay, let's calm this down, let's not take it too far. But I think the survivalists are just having fun or being shady with one another, and it's not that deep.
I think it's not that deep as well. And this is what I was going to ask you, and I have not done the research. Do you know how many viewers watch every episode of Naked and Afraid or Last One Standing? An average, a good guess, an educated guess. Somebody knew at one point, but I don't know.
I think in the admirers of Matt Wright, they have been posting sort of the weekly viewership of various shows, and Last One Standing is at the top. And I think for episode 3, there was like there were 870,000, and it was like the top of the list. So it is getting high viewership.
Okay. 850,000 people are watching Last One Standing. Let me tell you something, people. The fans, everybody who's watching and who takes the time to go into fan groups or listen to the podcast, we love you because you're a super fan. But there's only maybe 1,000 super fans out of 850,000 people who actually watch. 1,000 super fans. What's the percentage of that? I don't know because I can't do math. But it's very small. So don't get your feelings hurt too bad, Black Cowboy, Matt Wright, all these people. Don't go that deep because it's really not that deep.
And I also think the fans need to remember that these are real people. Do not send hate, send support to your favorites, and let's just calm it down. Let's not call people idiots or morons or stupid or the A word or the B word or the P word or the S word or anything like that. It's not that deep. You may be upset, and maybe you could share like, oh, I didn't like when they did that, or oh, that was very shady to me, but let's not tag them in post or comment in their posts in the fan pages and start attacking them. It's very rude, and your comment will most likely delete it if it's in True Fans. The other pages have their rules. I know the rules of True Fans. No shade to the admins and moderators of the other groups. They have their rules that they're abiding by. I have nothing against them, but if we see that in True Fans, it will most likely be deleted if you're being rude to the survivalists.
You make a great point, and that's why I want to make it very clear. I'm talking about Jamie making, bad decisions that are shown on the show. It really doesn't mean that he's making bad decisions in real life or he's, that shady in real life. You're in a competition. You're fighting for money. $100,000 is a lot of money for some people. So, listen, judge the people on the show. Don't judge the people. As we judge everybody that's on the show on this podcast. But you know what I mean.
Yeah, we're judging the edited version. We're not judging them like as a whole. We're judging the small portion that we see on TV and their actions. And I can never do what they're doing, but I can tell when people are being shady, and I would be like, that was kind of shady to me. So
we have Matt throwing shade and some strategy, and now they have Trish. Black Cowboy shows up. It's clear Patrick is not happy. And Black Cowboy had to walk all the way there thinking, oh my God, this again. But it's good strategy. I hope they learn their lesson. I think that they need to come back together as a team. It's easier for us to do that here. But when they're out there, I hope that somebody says, hey, why do you think they chose you to come back here? You're the strongest one. And I hope someone has enough common sense to say out there, oh, they're trying to play us. Let's show them we don't get played. We're the players. So I hope that happens.
Hopefully. Well, I have the synopsis for next week's episode, so maybe Matt and Darren's decision to have Trish on their team maybe not be the best idea, but we shall see. Would you like to hear the synopsis for next week's episode?
Yes, give me some dirt and some tea.
Okay, so the next week's episode is called Savage Strategies, and the synopsis is Matt's tactics spark tension in another camp. Survivalists compete in a primitive axe challenge. After the first big game kill, a competitor must choose to keep or share their win. The physical and mental strain of the challenge sends a survivalist home.
Ooh, so someone's going to get a big kill. How many bows were out there?
3.
Okay, so everyone has a bow.
Yes, each team has a bow. I believe, yeah, because I think Max and Kayla chose a bow, a fishing asset, and
a hide.
And then Darren and Matt chose a bow and a fishing asset, and then Patrick and Chini were left with a rope and a bow.
Yes. So here's another thing. Before we get on to any predictions you may have, I am disappointed that I have not seen Chini, Patrick, or Jermaine make fish hooks. There are so many fish out there. And when I was on my last challenge, I was like, I want to make a hook. I want to make a hook. I know how to make a hook. So I'm surprised that they're not making hooks, or maybe they are and they're just not showing it. I don't know. But let's get to predictions. What do you think is going to happen next week? And who do you think is going to get the big kill? And who do you think is going home?
I think that when they say a competitor must choose to keep or share it, I'm thinking this may be Patrick or one of his team members. But, I mean, Matt Wright is one of the best hunters of the show. So maybe they'll have a moment of him being like, maybe I won't share it. But, like, he's going to share it. But I think Matt may be the first, or maybe Chini will get the big kill. And then for going home, the physical and mental strain, they say send a survivalist home. When Kai went home, they said a legend goes home. So I think Matt, Laura, and Max are safe. But, in the episode, there was a moment where Max was talking about how skinny Kayla was. And so I'm thinking, they're planting seeds in the mind, but I don't think she's going home just yet. But I think that this may be Trisha's time to go, and she may be going home. What say you? Who do you think is going to get the kill? Who do you think is going to be going home? And who do you think will win the axe chopping challenge, the tree chopping challenge?
Well, I'm going to switch it up, Gabe. I'm going to tell you who I don't want to win. I don't want Patrick to get the big kill. And the reason why I don't want Patrick to get the big kill is, number one, I don't think you deserve it right now. I think you need to get some licks and some lessons. And listen, he's with Jermaine. I want Jermaine to eat. But I don't think Patrick should get it because he's doing the risky survivalist hunt. And you're taking chances. When you have a team, you're putting yourself at risk. So I'm not saying that what he's doing is wrong or wouldn't work. I think it will work, but it's actually riskier to do it that way. And then who do I think is going home? I think probably someone who's injured is going to go home, which is most likely Trish. But I don't want her to go. I don't want anybody to go.
It should be a non-elimination season, and it should be a point value system. They've done that on RuPaul's Drag Race, where they've had a non-elimination season, and based on the number of points, that chooses who makes it to the finale. But
and
maybe
they haven't been showing Trish very much in any of the promos. Like, everything that we've seen, we've already seen that's in the promos. I don't see anything in the future, really.
Yeah, I can pick out moments for almost everybody else except for maybe Trish and Laura. But I think Laura makes it to the tree chopping challenge. I think that's the furthest point that I've seen her in, but I don't think she's going to self-tap out of the challenge.
Okay, so I have one more thing. We're going to play a game here in a minute. Yeah. We're not done yet, but I have one more thing to say before we sign off, and this is important. My co-host here has said, support your favorites. Correct, Gabe? That's our mission, is to support our favorites.
Yes, that is correct.
And the reason why I do this podcast, the reason why I ended up naked in Colombia, and the reason why I ended up naked again in Belize is because I love this show. I love it, and I support every single one of you. I have made mistakes where I have commented on somebody's appearance or commented on something that might not have been appropriate. But I didn't do it with malice in my heart. I did it not understanding. Everybody out there, please, when you're criticizing people, and that's all I do is criticize. I get criticized for criticizing. Don't criticize someone's appearance. Don't criticize someone's looks. Criticize their skills. Please stay away from the looks. That's the only thing I ask.
Yeah, and if you want to see how the individuals are when they're not starving in the middle of nowhere and little food and sun exposure, maybe see how they are on social media. And if you don't really like the way they're acting, just step away. Don't go and attack them. Just say, okay, you know what? I'm going to take a few steps back. Let me support my fave over here who is very cool and, being fun, shady and all that. Don't attack or try to bring people down, because remember, thousands of people are watching this, so this person could be getting hundreds of messages. I know Patrick has been talking about getting a lot of hate mail and stuff, but maybe let's calm that down, have your opinion elsewhere where they can't see it, but let's turn the volume down on the criticism and anger to like a 2 instead of a 12. Please and thank you.
Yes, please and thank you. Thank you so much for tuning in to listen to our opinions of Naked and Afraid Last One Standing. Please like, follow, and subscribe, because we are doing it for you, because we love you and we love the show. I'm Malu, and I'm out.
And I'm Gabe, and thank you all so much, and I'm out.
Yay! Round of applause.
We're
Patrick,
so cool.
don't do that again. Patrick, you're killing me with your mess-ups.
What?
Okay,
yeah, why
how
did
to
he
get that out of my
vent?
system.
Yeah, why did he do that? Why did he vent?
What was he thinking? What is wrong with Patrick? Yes, I would like to see Andrew Shade. I think he would add a mix to it.
I think
Spice and some excitement. I like excitement, so give us some spice. Who do you think? And we'll let them answer that.
exactly. I can think of one person, but I'm not going to say their name.
All right. Well, again, thank you so much for listening. This has been great. We're halfway through the season. Stick here for the dirt, the dish, and the talk.
I'm ready. Are you ready?
I'm not ready. I don't want this to be over. I love it so much. Peace out, y'all.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.